Welcome to the Feminine Front. We have a great show for you tonight.
Yes, we do.
James Franco is in the house.
Yeah, I'd like to spend 127 hours with him.
Absolutely. And Rita has a rant about the Security Exchange Commission and her lovely children. And find out why crime doesn't pay
yet.
Concerned about STDs? Claudine Alfano from Rise Up Spa is here, and she has some great advice you won't want to miss.
And our monthly PMS report, People Menacing Society, is out. See who's giving us severe cramps.
First up, we focus on the royal wedding. Here's Morgan Pofferl live in London with the Nearly Naked News.
You know, naked news is all the rage, but like the British, I thought I'd be sure to show a little decorum. After all, the royals deserve our respect. Well, maybe not that cheating scoundrel Prince Charles and homewrecker Camilla, but let's not focus on them. It's soon to be Kate and William's big day. Everything looks like it's in order, and one thing on everybody's minds, well, not just Kate's wedding gown, but why has Prince William opted not to wear a wedding ring? Seriously? With over 5 billion viewers glued to the television sets, you don't think he'll realize that women will know he's married? Unless he has his eye on an Amazon native who has never come into contact with television or the internet. Huh. That's worth investigating for this reporter. Now, the royal family appears to be very happy with William's choice of bride. She's solid, and as they've expressed to the press, they're hoping for no drama with this marriage. You know, like bulimia resulting from Charles telling Diana she's too plump, and women acting badly because they've married a prince that already has a mistress. I expect that Kate won't disappoint. God save the Queen. And as the British say, don't be crass, always cover your tracks. See you tomorrow for my nearly naked coverage of the wedding. You can bet I'll be following them right down the aisles. Except tomorrow, I'll just be wearing a hat. This is Morgan Pofferl, live from London.
And now with your 15-second news blast.
In local news, area man married to successful, dynamic, and frankly gorgeous local reporter was found canoodling with a sluttish and whorish friend of said reporter. Now, sources confirm that man in fact had his head so far up his own ass. It's a medical miracle that he was... Today, we have another report to show that everything's not going to hell. Technological giant Google has recently removed a dogfighting app. Now, this app was a beyond tasteless virtual dogfighting ring. But thanks to public pressure, Google has taken the app down. So a big shout out of thanks to the ladies and gentlemen of Google. Well done. This just in. Apparently, Google has not in fact removed the app. Google, we're going to have to respectfully withdraw our shout out of thanks until you learn to stop rolling in your own filth and start barking up the right tree.
Google, we've got our eyes on you.
Yeah, we do.
I think most of us would agree that kangaroos are unusually delightful marsupials that are loved the world over. In fact, they were chosen for the Australian flag to symbolize forward progress, since kangaroos are incapable of backward motion. Yet recently, the University of Wollongong in New South Wales wanted to tightly confine these active creatures in cages so that they could study their gas emissions. Yes, gas emissions, kangaroo farts, in order to measure the amount of methane expelled, even though the same experiment had been conducted 40 years ago. Well, it appeared that animal rights activists had made such a stink that the experiment has been called off. And it's a good thing, too, since a number of Australians have strapped kangaroos to their automobiles in order to capitalize on what was thought to be a less costly alternative fuel. This is Frankie J. reporting from the Outback in Australia.
Today in Egypt, an interesting turn of events. A father named his newborn Facebook as a symbolic gesture of thanks for the power of social media to mobilize the Egyptian people. Other sources reported that another child born during the protest in Tahrir Square, has been named Baby YouTube and Baby Google. When asked why no one picked Microsoft Vista, the crowd became hostile, descending on the reporters with clubs. Clearly, the love affair with technology and its role in political movements and social revolutions only goes so far. This is Sandrine Stevenard reporting from Cairo.
GPS gone wild. Find out who's really in the driver's seat.
Oh, I can't hardly wait to meet my friends at their lake house. It's been so long and I have so many fond memories.
Welcome, Miss Melanie.
Thank you, Jeeves. I'm so happy to be traveling to the lake house.
I'll bet you are. It's such a lovely and relaxing spot. Reminds me of the time I sat at the rim of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yes, it is lovely. And unlike the Grand Canyon, the water isn't so tumultuous.
Well, Miss Melanie, it's only a 2-hour trip. Let's listen to some music, shall we? I think it'll make the journey go more
That's a great idea, Jeeves.
Turn here, and then here, and we'll be out of town soon.
And out on the open road.
Bear right onto the ramp and merge into the oncoming traffic, Melanie.
Will do.
Look, the desert cactus are in bloom.
They're so lovely, and the weather is so perfect.
Yes, I suspect that flowers will be blooming in the Grand Canyon right about now. It is a sight to behold.
I bet they are. Do you remember that quaint little cabin is situated right near the lake? Oh, and there's a bubbling brook nearby. It's so enchanting.
Indeed. Now just put the car on cruise control and relax. Leave the driving to me, Miss Melanie.
Will do. Jeeves, wake up! I think we missed a turn somewhere.
No, we're almost there. Now merge onto Highway 67.
Jeeves! We're at the rim of the Grand Canyon!
I'll bet you've never seen a more spectacular view.
Jeeves, get us back on course! Daylight is burning!
As you wish, Miss Melanie. Don't be cross. Make a U-turn and head back to the main highway.
Jeeves! The lake house!
And if you look to your left, you'll see the Colorado River.
Jeeves!
Holocaust survivor and one of the greatest minds of our time, Dr. Riane Eisler, is here to tell us why investing in people is good economics. And if you think everything's going to hell, we'll have one story that will restore your faith in humanity. Today, I'd like to welcome Lily Hills and Karen Hudson. They are the authors of A Feminine Manifesto. Welcome to the Feminine Front, ladies.
Thank you. We're happy to be here. Delighted to be here.
Really good to see you. Now, tell me, why did you write this book?
Well, Karen and I have known each other since the first day of high school. We've had a 33-year friendship. And what we found in our own lives and what we've observed in the lives of other women is that we are perpetually hard on ourselves. We think we're not doing enough. We think we don't look good enough, young enough, thin enough. It's a perpetual conversation in our minds. Right. And because of that, it has not only made us more stressed out than we have to be and more insecure as individuals, as a gender, it's brought us down and held us back from what we're capable of.
So in other words, we actually get the joy of fighting taken away from us with this book?
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. That's exactly what it boils down to.
So we don't get to feel lousy about ourselves.
Right.
We don't get to compare ourselves to our sisters.
There's no downside.
Girls, I don't know.
The Holy Grail right there.
Radical ladies, but...
And it should be the conversation that we're having, because when we recognize, I mean, most of the things that we're talking about in our culture, you know, at the water cooler, tend to be around what movie's playing, or you know, who's dating who.
Sure,
it's more superficial. The conversation needs to be led towards, we all want to make the world a better place, right? Women's top priority as a gender is to make the world a better place. Men's top priority as a gender is to be top dog, to be in positions of power, to be looked up to. So you can see just from that perspective, and it's not about making the men wrong. They're as much of a victim of our culture as we are. But it's about saying that women have a very special perspective on social change.
Very
And
nice,
so
Lily.
that's why we can look at it as an act of altruism to be kinder to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at a time where we need an infusion of some what we call feminine values.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not exclusive to women.
That's right.
Exactly right.
Which is an important part to
Very
understand.
important. We remind men constantly that their feminine side is one of the most attractive sides
Love
of
it.
who they are. Love it. My husband is gentle, and when he's kind and tolerant with me, it just fills my heart. And it was one of the things that attracted me to him was his soft feminine. So, guys, it is not correct that it's
not just for ladies.
Yeah, it's
then.
not just for ladies. But it's very attractive.
We had a friend actually who we went to a dinner party and we said, Michael, you've got a fantastic feminine side. And what he said was, yeah, but it's a very masculine feminine side. You know, and we're like,
studly feminine.
Okay,
we
yes,
like to
be
call
careful,
it.
girls,
All
be
right,
careful.
whatever you want to call it.
And so we can see how if men see feminine as weakness, then they're more likely to stay in their masculine. There's nothing to counterbalance it that will bring out the best of who they are, because it is the integration.
It is the integration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think you referred to the brain, that we get these brain patterns going, and people forget how difficult that is to actually see them. Like I had a girlfriend say to me one day, I told her some of the messages going on in my head, and she goes, those are lies.
Our thoughts become beliefs once they are repeated enough times in our head. And we have, 60,000 thoughts a day, 95% of which we had yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. So you can just imagine, truly, you can imagine that neural path, you know, that's being formed. So it's about catching yourself, oh, now is that thought serving me?
Yeah.
No, let me correct that. And that's the practice.
And also you differentiate between the shadow feminine and the positive feminine. And everybody could use more of the positive feminine.
It's true.
And once we define that out, which you're doing in this book, A Feminine Manifesta, then people can really embrace it as opposed to being afraid of what exactly does this mean?
That's right.
What does this mean for my identity? Do you have kids? Well, if you do, you know how much they love to roam around with their friends. Now, in my days, we always had to tell our parents where we were going. And once we arrived at our destination, we had to call home to let our parents know that we were safe. But if your kids are like mine, they go out with friends, and though they have their cell phones in tow, they often forget to use them. I'm worrying like crazy. They've forgotten the phone home. Just like that Aaron kid portrayed by James Franco in the hit 127 Hours. See what happened to him? He got stuck under a rock and had to cut off his own arm. I rest my case. Yeah, I know I sound like that E.T. character, phone home. And sure, they laugh at me like I'm an overprotective Jewish mother. Well, I am a Jewish mother, all right, but overprotective I am not. All they have to do is press one button on their cell phone. One button. Is it too much to ask? Of course it isn't. But do they speed dial me to let me know they're safe? No, they do not. So I got smart. I downloaded the Jewish Mother app on their phones. Yes, you heard me right. The Jewish Mother app. She keeps track of them in all kinds of creative ways. And she reliably calls me so I don't have to worry. Mother to mother. And together we watch out for them. And because it's an app, it's much cooler than simply calling home to your mother. Though between you and me, it's still the same thing. But as long as they're safe and I know where they are, who cares? It works. One day when they have kids, they'll thank me. Do they thank me now? No. But they will one day, and you know why? Because they'll be alive and able to do so, because I was a protective mother. This is Rita Edelstein here, and yes, everyone has a right to my opinion, including my lovely children.
A report issued today states that women still lag behind men when it comes to crime. Noting that women continue to earn significantly less than men for the same work, researchers found it surprising that there are not more women involved in petty theft. And when it comes to major theft, fraud, and larceny, women's performance is clearly down. When compared with the men at the top of Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, and AIG, or even home-based thieves like Bernie Madoff, women's earnings are in the basement. They simply cannot compete.
While in the past, female criminals attributed the disparity to a lack of daycare and the fact that heels are impossible to run in. However, the latest research points to a different culprit. It turns out the problem is actually having a conscience.
And here to comment further on this matter is our senior entrepreneurial expert, Claudine Alfano. Claudine?
Thank you, Jackie. Well, all I have to say is, ladies, step it up.
you don't have to let a conscience get in the way of a successful and fulfilling criminal career. Let's smash that glass ceiling while breaking and entering. Here are a couple of helpful tips if you're contemplating a career in crime. Remember, you need to accentuate the positive and get creative. Tip number 1. Next time your partner lays a hand on you, simply whip out your handy-dandy taser gun. This is an excellent option if you are just beginning to dabble in domestic abuse, as there will be very little visible bruising. Tip number 2. Oh. Care to sample my homemade baked goods? Let the men stick to their Neanderthal drug dealing methods. Ugh, cartels, street gangs, how obvious. And so 1980s. Now, who wouldn't like a soft, moist, chewy, dense brownie? And hello, has anyone heard about the cupcake craze? Our bakeries will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Satisfy your sweet tooth and your cocaine addiction at the same time. Oh. Oh. Mm. Oh. Mm. Ladies, would you care to take a snap?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. This looks amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely.
Oh my God. Oh, that's better than sex.
I wouldn't go that. Well, yeah, you might be right there. All right. Thank you, Claudine. Well, tune in next week.
Oh, right, when we talk about women in violent crime.
Yeah.
Now, women are gaining momentum, but they continue to lag behind men by a 10-to-1 ratio.
They keep citing that sexual abuse and poverty and all those other factors are excuses leading them to crime, but researchers are hoping to find a more plausible explanation.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Claudine. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a cupcake.
I am so sick of crunching these numbers for Ed. My head is about to explode.
I was watching Secret Millionaire last night, and so this guy, he sold his tech company for like $500 million. He split the profits with his brother, so that's $250 million each. And then after taxes, assuming he paid taxes unlike GE, he's worth over $125 million.
Oh yeah, I saw this one. He goes down to Skid Row in LA and he lives among the homeless.
Yeah, he met this amazing guy who, despite his own difficult circumstances, took it on himself to get things like shoes and clothes and other essentials like toothpaste and shampoo for the people living on the streets.
Oh, and remember there's like that neighborhood basketball team that befriended him? And that super sweet lady who ran like the safe home for women and their kids.
Yes, and he was so moved by meeting all these inspiring people who were doing such wonderful things despite their own difficult circumstances. Just good souls.
I know, I love seeing those kids. They were so happy, even though their moms had it so rough. It was inspiring.
Yeah, anyway, so in the end, he gave $25,000 to one group, $25,000 to another group, $5,000 to the women in the safe home, and then $45,000 to the woman who ran the shelter.
I was crying right along with them when he gave those gifts until I started to do the math.
I know, right?
This guy is worth $125 million, and he gives a little over $100,000 to help the destitute.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that he gave the money to them and was changed by the experience and everything, but relying on the goodwill of the very rich, that's a risky investment.
I think you guys are being cynical. We should be grateful that he did anything. Every little bit of philanthropy helps.
Seriously? The top 1% of Americans have more money than the other 99% put together. $100,000? Maybe that's the most money his tax accountant said he could write off.
I guess it was a really little bit.
A little bit?
Okay. Little tiny, really, just little bit.
Come here.
This minuscule.
There you go.
Really little bit.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Absolutely absurd. I can't believe it.
Tiny.
Hello, this is Andreen Stevenard. I'm here in the Middle East. Talk about shifting sands. The mood is tense in anticipation of the same social and political unrest we've witnessed in Egypt during the past several months. The country's leaders have decided for the time not to draw a line in the sand and risk revolt. They have chosen instead to take another approach. The government has decided to run up the national debt by offering each citizen a sum of money paid out annually. In Jordan, every individual receives $3,000 per year plus a year's supply of food. Syria has instituted similar policies in the hope of quelling discontentment. Will this strategy work? If the government simply lets them eat cake, will it turn to sand in their mouth? Only time will tell. This is Sandrine Stevenard reporting from the International Desk in the Middle East.
Welcome back, ladies, to the Sisterhood Letters. My name is Ronalda Ferguson, but to you, my sisters, I'm Ronnie. Each week, I highlight one of the many letters I receive from you and help guide you out of violation of the Sisterhood Code. Now, for some of you who need to freshen up on the purpose of said code, it is a set of guidelines for us ladies to live in connection, not competition with other women. After all, we face many of the same joys and hardships. We females need to have that strong bond of a sister to help us thrive. Which brings us to today's letter. Dear Ronnie, one of my good friends and I recently auditioned for a well-known theater company. I was extremely nervous and flubbed my audition piece, while my friend delivered a stellar performance. Much to my surprise, I was called in to meet with the creative board as a cast member. I got in. When speaking with the director, he commented on my audition pieces, recalling specific lines and moments I conveyed. However, those moments weren't mine. They were my friend's. He confused me with my friend, and I didn't correct his recollection, nor did I tell my friend of the incident. I now have an incredible gig while my friend is still searching for another. Did I violate the code? What's that I smell? A guilty conscience? I should think so. Before I begin the Ronnie treatment, I would like to remind you that you referred to this girl as a good friend. First, you should have corrected that director. Not only are you hurting your friend's reputation, you're lying. Failing to tell the truth is lying. Look it up, sister. Second, those beautiful moments that earned a spot with this company, those moments that were so deserving of employment, were your friends. Don't you think they'll expect more of the same? And if they do, don't you think your friend is more deserving of the slot? Third, you felt it was necessary to not tell your friend of the incident. I'm sure you both, as I do with many of my girlfriends, divulged in every other detail of that process. You probably broke it down moment to moment, and you felt it necessary to leave out this one. I think you knew it was wrong, honey. You need to champion your girl. Adhere to this code, girlfriend, and you'll be dancing to a more harmonious beat. Thinking of the well-being of your fellow sisters is easy. Easier than having a baby, for God's sakes. Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today. And remember, ladies, be true, be you. From my heart to yours. People menacing society. Well, ladies, I am PMSing badly this month. Ooh. The people menacing society, mostly female members of our society, are so plentiful it was difficult to choose 3 candidates to focus on this month. But let's start with a real prince. Freshman Republican Allen West, an Afro-American endorsed by Sarah Palin.
See, Republicans do like minorities.
Yeah, crazy ones. Well, anyway, he told us he accused Planned Parenthood and other liberal women's groups of neutering American men.
I didn't think neutering was among the services offered at Planned Parenthood.
Right? According to Congressman West, women's role in life is to strengthen men.
Strengthen men as opposed to what? Not forcing them to face the snippers? They should opt instead for elective testicular surgery.
Do you think he's confusing vasectomies with castration?
Yepers. Get this. He was quoted as saying, "We need you to let the other women know, to let them know that we are not going to have our men become subservient. That's what we need you to do. Because if we don't, then the debt will continue to grow."
Excuse me. What? Women strengthen the men by letting go of their right to have control over our own bodies and affordable, quality health care services provided by the places like Planned Parenthood. Then the deficit will grow?
I think he means elections will not grow.
Maybe he's confusing elections with erections, or he's mixing up vasectomies with castration and erections with the deficit.
I need to pop a Midol for the discomfort and bloating and dealing with this guy. Okay, who else do we have up next? Who is causing the most mood swings, headaches, and can't fit into my jeans weight gain?
Michelle Bachmann.
And why?
Because she's histrionic in the worst way.
Yes. And it's time we had a woman win. People menacing society. Tune in again at our regularly scheduled time of the month to find out who else is miscarrying justice, being a pill, or is just a douche when it comes to women.
J.Crew's creative director, Jenna Lyons, caused quite a stir when she was pictured in one of the company's advertisements with her young son. Why? Because he was spotted with his toenails painted pink, his favorite color. Well, if that sends you to rant at the public podium, brace yourself for the new children's book, My Princess Boy. Honestly, I know that it can be disconcerting for parents, particularly fathers, to adjust to having unconventional behaviors such as painting your toenails pink and wearing flowery tutus. But honestly, isn't it better to encourage a child to find his true identity? Sure, there is and there will be the inevitable hostility from peers. No doubt you'll need to come up with some strategies to help navigate those perilous waters, but I say it's worth it. And relax. Not all princesses become queens. And who wouldn't want an interior designer in the family, or a fashion designer, a Broadway producer, an actor, a makeup artist? There are so many options, they're endless.
Join us again tomorrow
to see what's happening
on The Feminine Front.